What's going on, guys? So Warcraft is something I never thought I'd hop on the MMO Ronin channel, but yet here we are talking about the new World of Warcraft expansion, Dragonflight. Why am I talking about it? Because it actually looks pretty interesting. There's a lot of changes coming into play that I kind of want to test out, see how it works, see if it's something that will kind of revitalize the spirit of WoW that I kind of felt left me a long time ago. And I've kept trying to jump back in each expansion except for BFA and find it. So here we are again, back on to World of Warcraft, kind of interested in seeing what's going on. And we're talking about the Dragonflight expansion, which involves the dragon aspects and their world, their hidden island that they had cloaked off from the rest of the world while they were out messing around doing other things in Azeroth. So now they're back to make sure the world is right, go back to their homeland, make sure that's all good. And Wrathion's going to be there. He's going to try to make sure the Black Dragonflight comes back, and they have some enemies that they've been dealing with for like the longest time. It's going to be pretty interesting. From what it looked like in the previews that they showed, we have some pretty interesting looking zones, very familiar to what we've seen before in previous expansions, but they still look pretty good. We have a new playable character, as we see right here. Not character, but race and class. Those are going to be the Drakthir, and the class is called the Evoker. And only the Drakthir can be the Evokers, and only the Evokers can be the Drakthir. I think that's how Ian put it. But it's because they have a really special moveset and everything they can do. They're going to be able to change between a human form and a regular dragon form, or a dragonkin form, or whatever they want to call them, Drakthir form, I guess. So you'll be able to change between the two of those. You can pick between Horde or Alliance. With the cross-faction system, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just more of aesthetic for what's more pleasing for you. They say they're updating the mounts, I believe, or could have been the sigils. There's going to be a new starting island for them. They're going to start at level 58. So once you hit the Drakthir, there's going to be a starting class starting at level 58. You'll be able to hop into those, and they're going to have two specializations, and that's going to be the Devastation, which is your DPS, and Preservation, which is your like a healing spec. And then they're adding a new feature which is called Empowered Abilities, which is going to let you charge attack, do like a charge up ability and charge attack the things that show here. Dream Breath with it charging up in the bar here. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool things here. And one of the cool things I also thought they added in here was the Dragon Rider. Now they're saying these are going to be some dragon mounts you get at the beginning of the expansion. We can customize the dragons for how we want them to look. This is saying there's like millions of possible combinations to choose from, which is quite a lot. So we'll actually see. Maybe somebody will have like a competition for best dragons for the Dragon Riders. But this is pretty interesting to show some examples here of some of the dragons that you can kind of make. I would say they almost all have flapping animations. This is really based off of the Wyvern mount here. I know that mount so well, being a horror player. You can see at this dragon mount here. This one over here is like Proto Drake wings. And then this dragon here. And then they show some in the trailer when they're talking about it, like the dragon had like beard and different hairstyles. They also say that as you level up, you'll be able to improve like your skills by hunting down ancient gifts and advancing your skill tree for the dragon riding. And then once you reach max level, you can conquer additional challenges all over Dragon Isle to unlock even more customization options for your drakes. So it's gonna be like another mini game that we get to kind of hunt for if you like doing the pets or archaeology. We can look at customizing our dragons is another thing to kind of keep us being busy in Warcraft if we continue to play that long. So we have to see how that goes. Hopefully it's a pretty fun system. I kind of like the idea of it being not like normal flying, but actually having some weight and heft to the movement, having to kind of glide along the winds and figure all that out to see how you can fly with it. So we do have some new islands here. We got the Dragon Isles is the name of the entire area that we're going to be in. And as it showed here, the Waking Shore, on the Haran Plains, the Azure Span, Thaldraszus, and the Forbidden Reach. And these are all different zones that we'll be exploring in the new expansion, each having their own like ecosystem. Like it's gonna be like a fiery looking zone, and an icy looking zone, and a more wilderness themed zone. I think they said one of them was based off of Howling Fjord, or was it Grizzly Hills? I think it was Grizzly Hills. They said it was kind of based off of from the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. I liked all the zones in Wrath, so hopefully a lot of the zones here will kind of give you that feeling of being in a world again, and not a not magical place, but actually like a cool world to explore. Here's a talking about the diving and riding and the dragon riding overview. As they show them kind of floating, gliding along the wind, kind of bouncing along the currents, and then you can kind of dive and do like spin moves. It's pretty cool. So this is the part that really kind of got me interested. Not really the new HUD interface, which allows you to kind of move around the HUD pieces and make them larger. Something that you would have to have an add-on for, but now they're actually allowing you to have professions and crafting and a talent tree that's completely different than what they had before. So with the professions and the crafting, you can see here, you have a whole new menu. You're gonna have skills, or what your crafting skill is, what the difficulty that you're trying to craft is. I don't know what resourcefulness and inspiration is going to be, but we have a quality bar to actually kind of create better quality. And then they're also going to have like, I want to say bounty board, but it's a build orders board. So if somebody needs something built, they can place a build order and kind of put what they want to give the person that's building it. And if they have their mats, they can list that they have their own mats, and then you can build that for the person. They're also doing specializations within the crafting. So they mentioned like blacksmithing. You can be like an armor smith and kind of specialize in just making armor, or weaponsmithing and specialize in making certain types of weapons. So that's kind of a cool way. You still only have 2 professions though. So it's still going to be people bouncing around on their alts, trying to maximize their professions and have, you know, those people that want to have everything. They're going to have alts to make sure they can have each specialization and each profession. And they didn't go into like flying for this. They just said the dragon riding is going to be through the whole thing, but we're still going to have our mounts. I think they're going to function the same way. And so they didn't mention how flying was going to be in the new expansion. There's probably still going to be might be some grind to come along with flying. That just seems to be the norm nowadays, or a high gold cost. So this is the talent tree. You can see they're kind of bringing it back to the old ways of how the talent tree used to be. One thing that's cool about the talent tree, and I haven't clicked on read more to see how far they go into it. They kind of go pretty deep into it. I'll have this all linked in the description. But one thing that they talked about the talent tree that was pretty cool is, aside from it being its own trees where you can kind of spec how you want and go wherever you want to, you'll also be able to set your trees. So you're not limited to just setting that and then having to keep changing it or spending currency. You can have save slots of what trees you want to use for what situation. So they use PvP as an example. Maybe you want to have a different PvP setup in your trees, which is something that normally happens with talent trees. People are always respecing for PvP if they're doing PvP, or they go back to respec for the PvE content, because that's what we used to do back when we had talent trees. So now they're going to give you that ability to do that with just switching a save slot for your spec or your talent tree, which is pretty cool. That's a cool thing that they've added in there. So we'll jump further into this as more information is released. There's still a lot they haven't talked about as far as this goes. Like there's still, how will mythic keys still be the same? They seem to be trying to take on the complaints that everybody had about previous expansions and kind of change it up a bit to make it a bit more fun for everybody, keep it more modernized instead of sticking to these old systems or these weird systems that people don't really mesh well with. So we don't know if there's going to be any kind of weird aspect power or anything like that, because they didn't mention that. They didn't mention any of those core gameplay systems that are really going to decide whether or not people are coming back to the game or are just going to stay away from the game. And I think that's because they're still really working on it. They said that alpha is going to be coming up at some point in time, but the fact that they mentioned it means it'll probably be coming soon, even though they didn't give a date. You know, the beta will be further after that, and they haven't launched any release dates for it. They're not even taking pre-orders for it right now that I was able to see. You can opt in for the beta on the website. So this is where we are. That's pretty much them, I guess, jumping ahead of leaks, because there's a lot of leaks going on. So they caught us up. We got information on what's going on with it. We know what it's going to be, but there's still a lot to learn about this expansion and what it's really going to entail. They also mentioned a couple of things here too. I want to just go ahead and talk about. They're talking about the new level cap going to 70. They're talking about a new raid, venture into the ancient prison of the primal incarnates before their malevolent power can be unleashed against the dragon aspects. And then there's new dungeons, fight to reclaim the Theris, stronghold of the Black Dragonflight, explore previously unknown chambers of Uldaman, defend the life pools of the Red Dragonflight, and more. So the unknown chambers of Uldaman is going to be great. Those are kind of my favorite stories, trying to figure out where the dwarves came from. But we are going to see more in the future. Hopefully it is good. You know, they like to tell us everything ahead of time, whether it be in a PTB or somebody's jumping into the alpha or beta and talking about it. We'll see what's coming for us, and it'll be good or it'll be bad. And I'll keep you guys informed of what I think about it. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching this video. It's kind of exciting. I'm kind of like, because I haven't played in so long. I did create a character in Shadowlands and got that to 60, but it just wasn't really feeling it that much. So that's pretty as far as much as I got with it. I just leveled it up to 60, and then I kind of stopped playing. Being able to jump back onto my Horde character and be able to play with my friends that decided they wanted to stay as Alliance or go back to Alliance should be pretty good, because I really enjoyed playing with my Horde character, which is a Blood Elf Paladin. I know, but I had a lot of fun with that character, and so being able to go back to the character and actually give it the attention that it didn't get in the previous expansions will be fun, because I did Gnome, female Gnome, Monk, and Legion, and then in Shadowlands I made a Demon Hunter. So we'll see what happens. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on the MMO news and content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.